I was also curious, like, what's your thought on NCAA, like, not giving financial compensation to players? Do you think players deserve to be paid for their jerseys? Just like, what's your stance on that?
Players should be paid for their names
Mhm.
and if they are used in like advertising ways. So like if you go to a big enough school where your jersey's sold, I 100% think you should make the profit off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it should be illegal to not make I think it should be illegal for other people to make the profit off of that. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
If you guys hold on one second, sorry guys, I'm gonna tell my
You're fine.
You're good. You're good.
Hey Dad, I'm gonna interview right now. I'll call you back. Sorry, that's the only way he'll think I'm doing something. So yeah, I think it honestly should be illegal for another man to make money off something that I have created.
Yeah.
And in the real world, it is, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't get why that has to change for a sport, but it is what it is. I don't think athletes should be paid necessarily just for being on the team.
Yeah.
But I think for performance and how their name is used after those performances. So for example, like myself and like a bunch of my teammates were like on either posters throughout the town or like cup holders, like all these different things, and it's like we don't see any money from that, but like it helps. Obviously, it helps advertise for the team, but it also like helps other people make money. And like for the fact that we didn't see any of that money, and like we're struggling to. I was struggling to get through college. Like I'm in a bunch of debt now because my family couldn't pay for it. So it's like I could have been making money when I was doing well and like, performing. I feel like that should be a thing. Like a lot of kids that go to these schools obviously get full rides, but there's also schools that don't get full rides where kids are in the same position. They just didn't get maybe enough exposure, or they're just simply not good enough to go to those bigger schools. Yeah. So like, I don't know. I definitely think kids should be paid, but in a certain manner. I don't think being on the team necessarily means like 100%. You're on a Division I team. You should get paid. Like no, I don't see that like that. But that obviously it comes down to fairness, and is that fair if some kids are getting paid and some aren't? But that's a tough question. I think California released something that said they might start paying.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I don't know how that'll go, but I definitely am jealous of if that goes through. I'll get paid, but that's a tough decision to make, I think. So.
Yeah, just seeing like all these college kids and college athletes, like everyone knows like college students are not making any money, like anybody, and putting them into this environment where you have to work hard for this team, you have to kind of win for our team in our college, and at the end of the day, like we just made this like X amount of money, but you're not going to get any of it. Like it's our organization's money. So I do kind of think where athletes do get kind of sidelined on that matter, because they are putting in the hard work. Like you see, like from the sidelines, you don't really see what's going on. You just see the game and you just go on with your life. But like you explained, we talked to Shane and Eric as well. Like it's tough. Like, you know, waking up at 6 a.m., 5 a.m., I got to go lift, I got to go work out, then practice, and then I can make some runs. Then I got to go to class again. And then at night, maybe we have another lift. Like hearing that kind of stuff, it's like you guys don't have zero time. And at the end of the day, if you guys don't perform, the college just doesn't even look at you. It's like you just didn't do your job well enough. It's like I put in 12 hours. What are you talking about? I put in a lot of time. So like I hear you, and I do, like, even though I'm not an athlete, just looking and hearing stories from athletes, I feel like you guys do put in amount of work where it should be compensated for.
Yeah, that's fair. I think that's a good point. I think you're maybe alone in that thought, and I appreciate you saying that, but there's not many, I think, kids that go to school that don't play sports that actually feel that way. I think, especially at an Ivy League school, a lot of time we got a lot of backlash for being athletes and like being treated differently, and like, oh, you guys get gear and you guys get special treatment and like get to like leave classes like for games and stuff, and it's like, okay, but like you don't understand that we're bringing in money for the school, like. You guys go to our games and enjoy watching it. Like, there's one kid that released an article at Dartmouth, and it was about basically how Ivy League shouldn't even have sports, and how it's unfair that like thousands of kids get into the school where thousands of other kids that work their whole life just to go to an Ivy League camp because of athletes. And my coach was pissed off about it. He went to Dartmouth, so he understands how hard it is, regardless of if you're an athlete or not. And how deserving that all of us are regardless. So I think that's a very unique view you have, but I actually agree with you. I definitely do think some compensation would be nice, or even their ability to offer athletic scholarships from Ivy League school. I think every single Division I school should offer athletic scholarships, no matter what. I think the problem it comes down to is just like how much money the schools have. But like you gotta think like 70. If you do maybe like the big sports for athletic scholarships, like which even big universities do. Like Ohio State doesn't offer full rides for lacrosse. They might for lacrosse. No, they don't, because I know a few kids that went there. It's like literally football, basketball, soccer. I think soccer. So like these schools aren't even offering full scholarships for most teams. So like I think most football teams or most schools that have football teams and basketball teams should be on full ride, because those are the sports that are bringing in the most revenue and like creating the most change at those schools. So that's just my personal opinion. I don't think it's going to happen where all schools will ever be on that wavelength, but it's definitely a good thought. But.
And the reason for like kind of my thought, and I went to RIT, which is I think Division I for hockey, and I had one of those hockey athletes in my class, and one of my professors did hold them accountable if they did not meet the expectations, and that's what I kind of liked, and I saw that they're not just getting a slight. I can't speak for everybody, every professor. That specific professor in my class held him accountable. Even the hockey student, I won't say his name, but he understood, like, I have a job to do here. It's not like I'm just here to play hockey. I have a class too. And seeing that he's being held accountable, he's not getting any pushback dates, and you have to do this, but he's coming out at the end and he's doing really well. And I saw that. I'm like, he took it right under the chin. He's not like asking for extensions. He's not asking for, let me give me another week or something. And he's like, he's meeting those expectations. And I'm not taking away from any of those academically people that are getting academic scholarships and things, because they work hard too. And getting that 4.0 in a school is tough. And going through, I have to do well in this class or they're going to take away my academic scholarship. That's like a different amount of pressure, I would think, as well.
Right. I agree with that. I don't know how, I haven't talked to Eric in a bit, but I don't know how the UB is with like academics and stuff, but I know that like bigger schools like Ohio State's, Clemson's and all that, like they get tutors specific for the players. Yeah. And I know for a fact that like, I shouldn't say I know for a fact. I have a strong feeling that a lot of those guys necessarily don't do the work, maybe like not even for themselves, but like just they don't do the work as much as they should. And then like they obviously have football to back up. But I think a lot of people realize it too late, where it's like football is not going to last forever, regardless of if you make an NFL team or not. Like it's not going to last forever. So I think it's such a tough topic.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah.
I definitely think coming from an Ivy League school, I had to learn to do both, like 100%, and be accountable 100%. So like, I wish that everyone could experience going to an Ivy League school and having to do both, because I think it would make everybody better off.
Yeah.
Like I always complain to my parents, like I didn't learn much like in classes and stuff like that. But like the more I look at it, like I learned so much just from being in that situation.
Yeah.
I learned more about life in college than I did learn about like any specific topic. So like that's my biggest takeaway from going to Dartmouth and like playing sports there, is just like how I deal with day-to-day life and like how I get through, how to get through when you don't have everything, when you don't have enough of something. Like that was just a great experience. And I think just learning that was kind of the biggest thing I definitely took away from there. So